So there's a lot to look forward to this weekend. In fact, we know that the Springboks take on New Zealand, but the Springbok Women are looking to write a new chapter in South African rugby as they prepare for a first ever World Cup quarterfinal against reigning world champions New Zealand as well. And that's also on Saturday. It has been a remarkable journey for a team that vanished from the international stage between the years of 2014 and then 2017, only to return stronger and steadily rise in profile. So with the increase in players and the willpower to move forward fully professionals in rugby in this country, it seems like a new dawn is indeed on the horizon for women's rugby. So to talk about this and the upcoming World Rugby quarterfinal fixtures and all things rugby, in fact, we've roped in rugby journalist Francois de Wet. Good morning, Francois. I think I said the word rugby so many times just in one sentence. We are a rugby.
Good morning.
Good morning. We are a rugby crazy nation. We love our rugby teams, and it's so exciting to see how people have gotten on the train of the Women's Rugby World Cup. They've been supporting. We know the records that the entire tournament has broken. It's the first time I'm chatting to you, so just give us a sense, of what you've made of the tournament thus far, the fixtures, the pools, and of course then we'll look at the fixture against New Zealand with the Springbok Women there.
Yeah, just an absolutely amazing tournament. If you look at the viewership, the attendance of the games, hats off to the England Rugby Football Union for putting everything into this tournament. I think it's much bigger than the one that was 4 years ago in New Zealand. If you look at the attendance of every game that has been played, and just absolutely fantastic, and also the rugby as well. Just the quality of the game. You can see how much the women's game has grown. And for us as South Africans to be in a quarterfinal, it's absolutely brilliant.
I mean, it's a huge milestone for us. We've reached that quarterfinal. Yeah. We also know that under the directorship of Rassie Erasmus, a lot of resources have been pooled and poured into women's rugby. The Bulls have been investing in their women's team as well. Why do you think, or do you think rather, that this has been the pivotal moment and that tipping point that we needed to actually finally turn the corner when it comes to women's rugby?
Yes, I totally agree. It should have happened much sooner.
Yes.
I was disappointed when, I think it's almost 10 years ago when SARU announced that they are cutting the women's program. It was a big blow to South African women's rugby and the development of the game. But to see them, after bringing the women's game back into the fold, just to see the growth over the few years, and a lot of credit has to go to, especially a union like the Bulls, who went the professional era way, the only professional team in the women's game in South Africa at the moment, and hopefully we'll see other unions joining suit in a couple of years. But absolutely, that was a massive investment, and also SARU making an investment in these ladies, bringing in coaches, bringing in expertise, bringing in Swayze the Brain to come and just to level up the women's game, and we can see the results now.
Speaking of Coach Swayze de Brain, I mean, he's also got some outstanding players that he can choose from. Who stood out for you? We know we have the likes of Cesar Hele, we have Nadine Roos, any other standout players and players perhaps that media haven't really focused on that you think deserve their spotlight as well?
Yeah, Barandre Adolf from the Bulls. She's actually a flyer, but we see Swayze picking her on fullback and sometimes on the wing. But actually, when she plays for the Bulls, she's a fantastic playmaker in the number 10 jersey. You've got Libby Jansen van Rensburg there, who was man of the match, or woman of the match, sorry, in the Italian game that we won. And then, as you mentioned, Aziza Hele, just going from strength to strength. This is a second World Cup. And again, our top try scorer there, Nadine Roos, who's also being used as a scrum half and a fullback and sometimes at fly half, just bringing that excitement to this women's team.
If we look at this game against New Zealand, I mean, New Zealand just generally as a rugby nation is always a formidable force. And then also if we look at France in our group, they've just been playing outstanding rugby there as well. What do you make ahead of this encounter against New Zealand? And then what are you thinking in terms of the tournament as a whole as we zoom out and we look at the general pools and who's doing well?
Yeah, I think New Zealand made a huge statement, I think, in their last pool game against Ireland. If I remember back last year, quite a shock when Ireland beat them in a WXV game. I think that was in New Zealand. And that was quite a shock to the Kiwi system, I think, being the defending champions of this World Cup.
Yeah.
So they've clearly made a step up. And if I look back, went back and discussed the last time I think we played them in a competitive game was back in 2010 with our ladies going down something, I think 50 points to 3. But we're a much better side now. But it's going to take a massive step up from our last game. We know Sway's rested a couple of big name players for this contest. And hopefully that gamble pays off, but it's going to be a massive, massive contest. Defensively, we're going to be tested by these New Zealand ladies. And if I look at the current favourites, England, we might remember since that World Cup loss in the final, New Zealand haven't lost a game yet. They have been a bit off the boil, but I think come playoff times, we'll see this England side hit their straps and possibly go all the way to the final and then winning it.
Amazing. Just a quick score prediction from you before I let you go. I mean, these margins have been, incredible to see. So you've got to make this prediction carefully, Francois.
Yeah, as I said, it's going to take a massive defensive effort. We're going to have to be on our game. We made a lot of errors against France, mostly individual errors, because we were in the first 15 minutes, we were in that game, and then the red card happened, and France just took it away from us. So if we can stay in the fight and not allow New Zealand's attacking threats out wide, like your Portia, Woodman, Woodcliff, and Stacey Waka to run amok. So it could be a close game. It's going to be a tough task, but the heart says South Africa, but I think probably New Zealand by
I see I've put you in a very difficult position there, Francois, but thank you so much for chatting to us. It was awesome having you on the show as well. It really is a refreshing change when you don't have time to discuss the men's game. Normally it's the other way around. We do an entire discussion on the Springbok, but this time the women are taking the focus because it is the World Cup, the Women's Rugby World Cup as well, and we were chatting to rugby journalist Francois de Wet about the upcoming match against New Zealand. Let us know what your prediction is going to be. I look forward to seeing those responses on x.com.